Hey everyone, it's Nico, and in this video I wanted to run through some games I played over the years on Xbox 360 and remember enjoying. None of these games are currently backwards compatible, and some of them are available elsewhere, which I'll note so you know, but some are going to be lost on July 29th, 2024 when the Xbox store closes. Lost for now at least. I had a bit of a hard time compiling this list because as I was looking back at the 360 games I played over the years, there's already so many games that were delisted and are either not available anymore or are only available physically. I didn't want to include these because the store closing has no effect on your ability to seek out a physical copy. It's also worth mentioning that while some of these games were on PS3, that digital storefront already closed back in 2020, so unless there's a physical copy available, this could potentially be your last chance to acquire a particular game. Now, these are just personal recommendations of games I played and recall having a fondness for, and honestly, some of them are super easy to recommend since all of the games on this list are $15 or less at full price. Microsoft announced they're going to do a few waves of sales on the non-backwards compatible games, which is what this list consists of, so keep your eyes open for those when they drop more prices on June 18th and July 16th. And to be honest, you probably want to just wait and see if any of these drop before purchasing. Make sure to let me know if there's anything you recommend, as I'm highly interested in grabbing some of the digital exclusives myself. Thanks for watching. Now let's get to it. My first recommendation is a game that's still going to be available on a lot of other platforms, but the Xbox 360 version is going to be lost after this store closure. Dust: An Elysian Tale is a fantastic 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania title. I've played this one a few different times and really enjoyed each time I've played it. I played the Xbox 360 version a few years ago and also on Steam before that. You play as Dust as you search for answers since you don't remember your past. Armed with your trusty blade and accompanied by your loyal Nimbat sidekick Fidget, you'll set out into the fictional world of Falana. This one still holds up really well today with its great graphics and audio, smooth controls, upgrades, and a quest system. You'll gain XP from defeating enemies to level up, allowing you to raise your attributes like strength, defense, and health. Even all these years later, with Metroidvanias being pretty popular and almost an oversaturated genre, Dust is still a blast to play 12 years after its original release. It checks all the boxes to be a fun and engaging experience. Like I said before, this one isn't going to be lost with the store closure. It's available on Steam, PS4, and Switch, with the Switch version also having a limited run games published physical copy. But I mean, good luck finding one of those for a reasonable price. If you're an Xbox 360 gamer that doesn't play those other platforms, this one is a gem of a game, and you can grab it for $15, which is full price, but I've seen this one frequently go on sale for less than $4. So hopefully it'll go on sale at least once more before the store closes. So this recommendation comes in the form of a trilogy. There are 3 Alien Breed games on Xbox 360, and they're only $5 a piece. These games were available on PS3, and they're still on Steam, but if you grab them on Steam for full price, they're actually double the cost at $10 each. These games were available on PS3, and they're still available on Steam, but if you grab them on Steam for full price though, they're actually double the cost at $10 each. So since they're on Steam, you won't completely miss out if you don't grab these on 360, but man, these are really fun top-down shooters that are set in space. You can play single player or co-op if you have a partner to blast some aliens with. These games are very atmospheric and almost creepy even by today's standards. This comes from the dark environments and tense music that'll keep your pulse pounding as you traverse through these wrecked spacecrafts. There's a bunch of different weapons and grenades you can battle with. You replenish your health by collecting medkits, and there's some collectibles in the form of data pads. I highly recommend these, as even if they don't receive a discount before the store closure, $5 each is an absolute steal. The next game up on my list is Arkadian Warriors. This is the first game that could potentially be lost forever with this closure. Arkadian Warriors is an Xbox 360 exclusive that was released back in 2007. Now, I'll be honest, this isn't a must-play game, but I remember enjoying this one since it came at a time when I was hungry for this style of game. It's easy to recommend still, because even at full price, it's only $5. Arkadian Warriors is a dungeon crawler RPG that at the time was similar on the surface to some of my favorites on the PlayStation 2, like the Champions of Norath games and the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance titles, but it's definitely much more bland and generic than those. At the start, you have your choice between 3 different character classes. There's a soldier, archer, and sorcerer. Each one obviously has its strengths and weaknesses. You'll earn XP and level up. You can also acquire different types of gear to equip. You could play this one solo or local co-op. There's a town hub you'll visit to receive quests, and then you'll travel into generated dungeons where you'll battle large amount of enemies, acquire gold, rinse and repeat. Like I said, it's not amazing and can be a bit repetitive, but I look back at it with a certain fondness, so it might still be worth grabbing for such a low price. And this one will be gone for now and potentially forever once the digital storefront closes. Viking Battle for Asgard. This one is still pretty accessible and will remain so even after the store closure because it was on PS3 and it's still on Steam, and it even had a physical release for both PS3 and Xbox 360 since it was published by Sega. So if you prefer physical media, you should be able to find a copy fairly easily online. Viking Battle for Asgard is an open-world, third-person hack and slash that takes place in the world of Midgard. This game has some really large battles, and by saving your fellow Viking soldiers, they can assist you in those battles. I remember playing this and thinking how cool it was to be a part of these large battles with just hundreds of soldiers battling it out. It felt very different at the time than anything I'd played before, and even today it's still pretty impressive to look at. You can attack and capture settlements, there's a bunch of missions to complete and some hidden skull collectibles to find, but where Viking Battle for Asgard might be a bit disappointing is with its character-based progression. A game like this, by modern standards, would absolutely need to have some sort of gear and loot system, but it lacks that. You can gain new abilities and combos, though, to increase your combat prowess, but that's it. I recall really enjoying some of the fights, as there are some pretty satisfying enemies for you to defeat. I think this is a fun one worth checking out. Its regular price is $15, but keep your eyes peeled for a potential sale or the possibility of getting the physical version even cheaper. It might not have aged gracefully, because back then it wasn't anything revolutionary. This one might not have aged that well, but even still, it might be worth a look if this style of game looked interesting to you. Now, the next 2 games on our list are a little unique in that the original games that we're going to talk about here are not backwards compatible, but the sequels are. The first one is Bionic Commando Rearmed, which is an enhanced remake of the original Bionic Commando that released in 1988 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. The plot is mostly unchanged from the NES original, and you'll play as Nathan Spencer, who's armed with a bionic left arm that can be used as a weapon or to grapple to various objects to swing back and forth. Getting the hang of using your arm to swing is pretty important since you will use it to swing over gaps and for platforming at times. There's some parts where you have to hack a computer, there's various weapons and upgrades you can acquire, there's even some challenge rooms, which is some new content that they added. It also has a local 2-player co-op option, which is surprising, and from footage I've seen, looks cool, but isn't something I was ever able to experience for myself. It's a bit baffling this isn't backwards compatible, especially since Capcom likes to re-release their games as much as humanly possible, but it will still be available on Steam after the Xbox 360 version goes down, so it won't be completely lost forever. It was also on PS3 digitally, but that storefront closed back in 2020. The sequel, Bionic Commando Rearmed 2, is available through backwards compatibility, so you can grab that one as well if you want. Rearmed 1 is $10, and Rearmed 2 is $15. Assault Heroes 1 is our next game, and it's going to be partially lost forever as it released on Xbox 360 and PS3 digitally. I say only partially because there was a physical release for PC, but other than that, after the 360 store closes, you won't be able to get it on console anymore. The sequel, Assault Heroes 2, however, is backwards compatible for Xbox One and Series consoles. Now this one is another easy recommendation as it's yet another $5 game. It's a pretty fun top-down twin-stick shooter where you pilot different vehicles like a 4x4 and a speedboat. You can play it solo or offline co-op. There's different standard weapons like a minigun, flak cannon, and flamethrower, but you can also collect special weapons like grenades or even a nuke. It's a really basic game without a lot of story or bells and whistles, if you will, but its focus on fun gameplay is where it really shines. I highly recommend this one, and if you also want to check out the sequel, Assault Heroes 2, that's also available for $5, but that one is backwards compatible, so it's not really necessary to hurry out to purchase it. I hope you enjoyed this list of games I compiled. I dug deep into my played history to find some games I remember enjoying but haven't seen talked about yet, or just wanted to add my recommendation to it as well. If there's any games you enjoyed that you haven't seen mentioned anywhere yet, please let me know. These digital storefronts closing is always a sad day, and I'm honestly still playing through a bit of my backlog from when the 3DS eShop closed back in March of 2023. I grabbed a handful of 3DS digital exclusive games before it closed and have been playing those recently, so I'm always interested in grabbing anything that could potentially be lost forever. One for Xbox 360 that I haven't played yet, but that I know for sure I'm going to snag before the store closes, is Crimson Alliance. I've always wanted to play that one and had completely forgotten about it until I watched Metal Jesus Rock's video of his recommendations. So if you haven't seen his videos yet, I'll have a link to both in the description, even though, let's be honest, if you found me, you most likely already saw his videos. But either way, let me know if you have any recommendations. I appreciate you watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Have a good one.